Hey everyone, welcome to Buick Outdoors. If you're new around here, my name is Sheldon Marion, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing and gear review on this Commander NV400 4-52x50 digital scope. With this scope here, OneLeaf actually sent it to me to do a review on. If you go onto their website for this one, this exact one that I have, on the website itself, it's $708. Right now it's on sale, like 9% off for $658. With this one here, some of the key features, there's a day, starry, and night mode. You can do recording with this scope. The video recordings, you have 3 settings in 4K. You have 120 frames per second, 60 frames, and 30 frames per second. You have a 2K version or a 2K option that's 30 frames per second. And then you have a full HD mode, which is like your 1080p, and that's also in 30 frames per second. There is a night vision mode on this, as well as this one comes with a rangefinder. The night vision range, it says it's 437 yards. There's a digital zoom of 13x. There's an electronic compass built inside of the scope, as well as there's a one-shot zero option. There's backlighting on it inside the picture, and it says that there's picture inside picture. So what that means is when you're looking through the scope, you can see a little picture inside of it. So everything that's going on within the scope, you can see as you're looking through the scope. There's 6 profile managers. So you can have 6 different settings for, say, 6 different calibers or rifles. There's 7 reticle options with 5 different colors. And I believe right here it shows a small preview of some of the reticles that you can do, and then also some of the colors. So the colors are white, red, green, blue, and black. The screen aspect ratios are 16:9 or 4:3. There's an external HD port. This one supports a micro SD card up to 64 gigabytes. So with this, as you're filming, 64 gigabytes, that is a ton of film that you can use. There's an illuminator on here on the side, which creates the actual night vision mode itself. It's not exactly a night vision, it's an infrared. You can take pictures with it. The magnification, like I said, is 4-52. The focus range is 13 feet to infinity, and the external rangefinder is 15 feet to 3,300 feet. I'm not too sure what that is in yards or meters, but yeah, it seems like it is one of the cool scopes that you can use. With this scope, though, before you purchase something like this, you have to make sure that, according to your local laws, that it's illegal to even own, let alone use. For us here in BC, at the time of this recording, it's legal for me to use, it's legal for me to own. However, it's illegal to have it in your possession on a hunting expedition. So I can own this, I can use it at the range. It's illegal to use at night because you are not allowed to shoot at night in BC. So for that, we're not really going to be able to test the night vision mode too much. We'll be able to look through it. But as for acquiring a target, we can do that. As for shooting at the target, unfortunately, because of the laws in BC, we won't be able to do that portion of the video. There are other videos out there that people have done shooting at night with it. But with that being said, what I'm going to do is we're going to open this thing up together and just see what's all inside, because I haven't opened this up yet. Alright, so let's get to opening this thing up. So the first thing that you see here, guys, you have your little owner's manual here. You have a little lint-free cloth. little silica packet. And then there's this little warning card here. It says, please remove the mount and reinstall it correctly. We have a little eyepiece. I'm assuming that's for a night, so you can put it directly on your eye so there's no background lighting and stuff coming into it. This would be your charger for your battery. So we have some tools that come with it. A little T drive, Allen key, more Allen key wrenches here. We have a USB to USB-C cable. That's about the, I don't know, 20th that I own now. This one, so this is a HDMI cable. Over here we have just a cap. It says 65mm and battery. So that would be for your infrared scope, or not your infrared scope, but the infrared light. So here's the battery. You gotta take this off, pull that piece of plastic out, and then this actually mounts onto the scope, and then there's a near and far. So I'm assuming that you should be able to twist, and then I'm assuming what that does is it just makes like a beam. So if it's near, it'll be a nice wide beam. If it's far away, it'll be more targeted, so you can really stretch out there and reach out there with your infrared. Another eyepiece. This one is just slightly shorter than the other one. You can see that there. Another little cap. I was thinking that might screw onto your infrared, but it doesn't. So we'll have to set that to the side and see what that's for. Then the scope itself. Oh man, that thing is heavy. A little cap for here. What that little card here was saying was, please remove the mount and reinstall it correctly. So as you see here, they are upside down. Well, that's the first bad thing with this. Why would you send a guy a scope and the first thing you gotta do is take these off and flip them upside down? That's kind of weird, but whatever, we'll work with it. And then here on the side, this is the rangefinder. Here you got all sorts of buttons for menus and stuff. Playback, backlight, video and picture, nighttime, something to do with the internal menu, okay. And that's probably to adjust everything that's in screen. Little scope cover there. Flip up scope cover on the bottom. That's pretty sticky, but you can open her up. And then on the scope cover too, there's also this. So that looks like this screws into there. So maybe that is to have some sort of a weird funky sunscreen almost. Or it could also help with the infrared. With that, it'll draw in less light pollution. And I'm telling you, right off the hop, this thing is heavy. I bet you this is almost 2 pounds. This thing is pretty hefty. Worst case scenario, I guess, you could always use it to bonk somebody on the head with it. But anyways, I'm going to grab our little Allen keys here to loosen off our scope rings here. I'm going to flip them around the other way, and then we'll start going over this thing and really dive into this and see. There's a lot to take in with this, and if you're not overly too tech savvy like myself, boy, it's gonna be a learning curve. Alrighty, so here is the scope all taken out. I got the scope rings turned around the right way, so I'll open her up and I'll just see what's on the inside here. Just that little piece, that's for the battery. Then on this side, so there's just a little USB sticker there. And on this side, you have Type C, HDMI, little reset button. Then there's also this little rubber piece here. I'm assuming this is where your little SD card will go. So it's a little tricky. You take that out, open that up, and to my surprise, it actually comes with a little micro SD card. That's actually pretty cool that something actually comes with the SD card. And this SD card is 64 megabytes. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that right back in there. Now I haven't actually charged this thing up, so I'm going to see if it'll actually turn on or not. So when you look through the scope, when it's turned off, it's black. There's nothing in there. There's just a little black screen, looks like almost like a mini TV screen. So we have the power button right here. So I'm going to see if it's just a one click and it turns on, or if it's a click and a hold. Nothing there. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So it seems if you hold it for about 3 seconds, it'll turn on. And inside, it honestly just looks like a little mini TV screen. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. But inside, there's a reticle in there now. Hopefully you guys can see that. But there's a little red reticle on the top left corner. There's a little compass. Right now I'm facing north, which is wrong. North is that way, so don't trust that. And then there's also the magnification indicator on the left, and there's the degree of angle on both sides. So on the right hand side of the screen, there's a degree of angle, and that's which way you're pitching it, left or right. And then the degree of angle on the left hand side of it is which way you're going, kind of up and down. So let's see, what's roughly 45? Right about there. Oh, it says I'm 40. Right there's 45 degrees. So that's close enough, I guess. Then this rangefinder, I'm assuming I'll have to go through all the menu settings and look at all that. So if I click this top button, 4K, 30 frames per second. Pushing that doesn't really do a whole lot for me. So with this, I think what I'm going to have to do, this isn't one of those things that you can just fiddle around with it and figure it out. This is where your instruction manual is definitely going to come into play. And then you also have, it just says battery installation. So we'll mess around with that here in a minute. So the first page is just a whole pile of info for you. Same page, it says what comes with it. So this piece that is a sunshade. That's a sunshade cover, the scope cover, SD memory card, Allen wrenches, eliminator, rings. We've already went through all that stuff. Power source is a 5 volt, 2.4 amp. Battery, we've already seen where that is. It just shows you like eye cup, the near and far settings, the illuminator, all that. So inside here, this is perfect for the home screen that I've been talking about. So this one here, this pitch level indicator, that's showing your left and right. So that'll actually be good for when you're setting this back up after adjusting your scope rings. That actually makes it not that big of a deal. Now that once as I put this onto the rifle, I'll be able to actually adjust it to where it's actually at 0. This one over here, that's your indicator for your up and down. The compass, which doesn't really work on this far side here, that tells you your zoom magnification. And to change that, it's nothing here like a regular scope, it's this. So it's all digital magnification. So you sit there and you just twist that up and down. So the rangefinder says short press vertically to turn on rangefinder function. The little flag icon appears on the screen. If no rangefinder detects or out of measurement capacity, the red icon turns to gray. Measurement value appears on the right side of the icon if a rangefinder installed and is within measurement capacity. So this is it. It's kind of hard to read because it is a China brand, so their English is a little bit broken, kind of a thing. But yeah, we will get this figured out. And now these next few pages is all the settings that you can change. Oh my god. This is going to be one of those things where I'm honestly going to set it once and leave it. Otherwise, I think this is something that you would have to pack with you everywhere you go with this. I'll quickly run through. There's a reticle type, reticle color, shot 0, position, movie mode, photo, magnification, FFP and SFP, day, starry, night, screen aspect, PIP, movie clip time, LCD brightness, auto recording, display icon, display widgets, rangefinder, unit, compass calibration, gyro calibration, red dot, sound recording, stamp, metering, exposure, ISO, sensitivity, brightness, contrast, saturation, button backlight, date format, clock setting, format, SD card, version and card info, reset setup, video playback, so you can actually watch what you record. That's pretty cool. Photo playback, and that's the end of it. So this is just a pile of information. So you got this page, these pages, these pages, this one, and that one. So for people that are kind of used to infrared scopes and you've played around with them quite a bit, it might not be that big of a deal for you guys. But for us up here in Canada, this is the first one I've ever even held in my hands. So this is all kind of new technology for me. I'm used to a 3 to 9 by 40 scope, so this is just mind-blowing stuff. I guess what we could do here now is we can set up our infrared. Can't believe I need the manual to figure this one out. So you have to loosen this off using the T handle. You have to loosen this screw off here on the side. With this though, this nut doesn't want to go in all the way. So we have this nut here on top, but as you can see, it's sitting quite a ways out. That's the way they say to install it, is to leave that nut way out there. Alright, well, I guess that's installed correctly. When you're tightening this stuff up too, it's only in like inch pounds, like 18 inch pounds. Even the scope rings itself, you just finger tight basically. Now that we loosened this off too to pull the eliminator out, we can simply slide her back in. We'll tighten this up here. Slid it a little ways back so we're not quite touching the throat or the neck of the illuminator, but we also cleared all of these for our little focus adjustments. Well, if you click and hold it, it turns on. Then you see a little red light in there. Let's see what happens when we turn it and we go from near to far. Adjust it a little bit. Now it's on the closest near. We have kind of like a battery indicator here. I'll turn that. There's kind of 2 out of the 3 bars all lit up. And then if you click and hold it, nope, just 1 click. Alright, it seems to be working now. So there we go. We're slowly learning. It's also saying in the manual, if your rangefinder isn't attached, on the side of the rangefinder and on the side of the scope, there's little metal points have to come and connect. It looks like there's about six little copper looking things that you gotta line up, and then you just bolt that on, but mine came already on. So yeah, just gotta find the settings page. So at the menu, do the long press vertically in the main interface to enter menu, and then from there rotate left and right this top button to go through all the settings. To move up and down, short press this button here to go into previous menu, short press this one to go into next menu. In menu, long press this top menu button vertically to exit the menu. So let's turn this thing back on. 1, 2, there we go. So one of the last things I'm going to talk about in the booklet here is the firmware updates. Because it is an electronic scope, it does come with firmware updates, and right here it tells you all about it. The way that you go about it is you go to OneLeaf.ai website, you download and find the correct firmware, you download the unzip file, and then you plug your scope into the computer and you copy the file directly to the SD card root directly. Make sure the device is fully charged, press the power button to turn on the device. The firmware update progress bar is displayed on the screen. Device will enter home screen. After update, press and hold menu button to go to format, the SD card, and reset setup. Select format SD and reset. After that, check the firmware version and card info, whether the device updated the last firmware. Then there's some troubleshooting on the back here, and yeah, there you have it. There's the full unboxing and setup of this. This is going to be a much shorter version of what I actually did. I'm going to cut in and out a bunch. This has been about a 45-minute process or so to get everything set up and figured out. And when I go to the range, I'm bringing this book with me just so I don't mess anything up, or if I forget anything, I'll have the book with me. So that all being said, and as weird as it is, I'm going to plug in my scope and get it charged, and then I'm going to get it mounted up on one of my 22s. We'll go to the range and we'll finally do some shooting. Alrighty guys, so I got everything all charged up and powered up here. One thing that I'm doing when we go to the range is I'm taking the infrared light off of this, just because where it sits, it covers up the screws here for your rings. And also when we're at the range, I legally can't shoot this at night regardless. So for this aspect of it, maybe we'll test this when I'm back home later on tonight. When it's dark, I can flick that on and kind of shine around the yard, kind of a deal. But for right now, I'm going to take this to the range, and I'm going to be bringing the instruction manual, our Allen keys, pretty well everything with us there, because I still have to adjust the scope. So yeah, and I might have to adjust and calibrate the pitch indicator there, whatever it was called. So I'm going to wrap everything up, and I'm just going to show you what it's like mounted on this little Marlin XT22. If you guys want to see a review on this video or on this rifle, I actually have one made up already from a few years back, so I'll put that. There'll be a little thing in one of these corners here that'll pop up. There'll also be a link in the description below for you to check out, and that's the Marlin XT22. So with that all being said, we're going to take this out. We're going to go to the range, and we're going to start doing some shooting with this thing. See if we can get it sighted in and see how tight the groups are. Alright, so we made it to the range here, and I already did the gyro calibration. Pretty well go to the gyro and you hit start, and you just kind of leave the rifle nice and flat for, I think it was 6 to 10 seconds or so. And yeah, and then it said calibrated complete, so we were good to go. So now that I have a target set up down here, it's at 25 yards. What I'm going to do for the first couple of shots is I'm just going to shoot at the target and just let the bullets hit wherever they hit, just to see how the scope itself groups together. And then once we do that, I brought the manual with us so we can do the shot zero and see if it actually adjusts or not. So I got the old magazine here. I got to turn the scope on. And we just gotta give that just a few seconds to let it kind of boot up and get ready. And then we'll get to shooting here. Alright, so right there, I'm dead on center. What I'll do is I'll do the old capture. So right now we should be recording. And I'll get everything nice and adjusted. So right there, we're dead center. We'll zoom right in on it. There we go, give her 4x zoom. Now we'll load her up, we'll start shooting. Little low and left. So it's actually not that bad, you know. So we're out of bullets. We got 5 shots down there. Those 2 right there are touching. The other ones are kind of all over the place, but that's all right. It could be the scope, and it also could be the gun as well. What I'll try to do is get this to where it stays right dead center, so then we're able to actually do the one shot zero that it calls for. That'll be about close enough. Alright, it won't let us do that while we're recording, so I'll have to stop the recording on this. So we'll go shot zero. So a little white cross here comes up, and with that white cross there, we're able to adjust it.
what's neat is when you're doing this, the red crosshair stays up, the white crosshair comes in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that crosshair, we have kind of a square, so I'm going to put that white crosshair kind of right in the middle of that square. And maybe what I'll do, I'll take a picture of this with my phone so you guys can see what I'm looking at through the scope here. So I'll put that picture up that I just took, and the red crosshair is where we were shooting at. The white crosshair is all the adjustments that we're making. We'll see if we actually did this properly or not. We'll zoom this back into 4, and we'll see where we shoot. We're either going to hit somewhat near the middle, or we're going to be even further left. Or even further left, so I did that backwards. I'll have to do this again. Alright, so put the red crosshair where you hit, put the white crosshair where you want to hit. Zoom back in and we'll see if we actually hit that target or not. You know what? It's actually pretty close. So that's 2 shots, pretty well touching. The third shot's a slight flyer, but it's only slightly right. To my surprise, that actually worked extremely well. So for such a cheap little infrared scope, basically with the rangefinder, what if while we're here, we'll test it out for the real long ones out there, because they're, I think, 450 yards. 403. Then if I adjust this, I believe. So if we make a couple of adjustments on the scope, you can see at 400 yards zoomed in 11x. Or if we can go any further, there we go. 13x, you can see fairly well. I mean, that is pretty nifty how it's pretty accurate. This one should be roughly 300, I think. Yeah, 305. These ones are what, 200? 202. So the rangefinder, it's accurate. It's another, that one's 460. 402. 306. 202. Yeah, the rangefinder, that's actually very impressive for the rangefinder. My little Bushnell 1200 yard rangefinder that I spent a few $100s on isn't nearly that fast at acquiring targets. But yeah. Anyways, that's the shooting aspect of this. So we'll wrap this up. We'll get this gun back to the house, and we'll give you the final thoughts on this. Alrighty, guys. So we're back from the gun range here. It's been a couple of days since I did some shooting, but we're back at the house here now, and I got the scope off the gun here because I'm going to be kind of flinging around in the yard. It's not quite 100% dark here just quite yet, so we gotta give it some time. Once it gets really dark, I'll turn the scope on, I'll turn on the infrared, and I'll put on night mode, and we'll test out this night vision. And I just hit the record button. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the little infrared light. And so far that actually works very well. I can zoom right in on the rabbit cages. And those rabbit cages, if I hit the rangefinder, you can see the pulse of the rangefinder. My finger might be in the way. Those are 30 yards. So at 30 yards it works pretty good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and we'll go and look down the road and just see. One thing that we could start with is kind of maybe looking like the neighbor's fence kind of a thing. See if I can clamp this camera. So we'll check out the neighbor's trees. And even the neighbor's trees, you can see that pretty good. So the neighbor's trees are 91 yards away. So that works pretty good. We'll head out to the road here. And what I'll do is I'll shine this all the way down at the end of the road. And we'll just see. So at the end of the road, there's a stop sign down there. And I can actually see that pretty good. Hit the rangefinder. 234 yards. 254 to those trees. And they're actually lit up. If I go to the very top, I can still see the blink of the rangefinder. The top of the trees light up. Actually works pretty darn good. It's a shame that I don't live somewhere where I can actually utilize that function. But yeah. So we tested out the night vision, and that seems to work. And now we're getting back into the dark here. So you won't really be able to see me, but you can hear me talking. But yeah, we'll make our way downstairs and we'll finish up this review. Alrighty guys, so we're back into the office here now from testing out the infrared outside. I just want to finish up this video with going through some pros and cons of it. We'll start with the pros. The main one is the price. From what I've seen, again, up here we don't use any type of infrared or night vision or anything like that. But from what I've seen, typical infrared scope and thermal scopes and all that stuff, they're around like that $3,000 to $5,000 mark. So with these being under $1,000, I really don't think you can go wrong there. The other pro, this infrared light, right now I have it set on the near. I didn't even turn it to far, and I could see out there at 250 yards. So I mean that was pretty cool there. Didn't take much adjustment. Another pro is this rangefinder. This thing is like crazy good. I can't believe how good that rangefinder works. I think I said at the beginning of the video where it works faster and more accurate than like my Bushnell 1200 does. Like if these guys made just a rangefinder, I would honestly buy just a rangefinder from them. The other pro, once as you kind of get to know the owner's manual, or if you have experience with these things, the menu itself is actually fairly easy to go through. But again, once as you kind of go through it and really familiarize yourself with it, it's actually not that bad. Now the cons, for me, there is several. Again, because I'm not used to this type of scope. One con
is that the battery for your illuminator and the battery for the scope is separate. It would be nice if it was somehow attached how your rangefinder is. It would be kind of nice, but having two batteries, at least it all goes onto the same charger, so that's not so bad. A con for me, and you know, again, it is because I don't use these. Having to plug everything in before you go and use it, to me, it's just foreign. So that's why it's a con to me. For anyone else that uses these types of scopes, it's just an everyday thing. You obviously have to charge your batteries. Other than that, the way that it's all put together, it's a bit of a con that everything isn't just internal with just one body, even if it was slightly bigger. But having this stick out, that stick out, it's gonna get in the way when you're putting it away in like your gun case or your gun safe and stuff like that. The other con, there's some things like this being loose. It's kind of weird. This bolt doesn't screw in, but it holds it down, so it's just kind of whatever. The flip up caps, there's just so much stuff on here, you know what I mean? But with that though, it comes with the scope. All the buttons and knobs and everything like that. It's a con to me because it's just so foreign. I'm not used to anything like this. But other than that, it actually isn't that bad, especially for the price. They're below $1,000 compared to everything else that I've seen online. I didn't do much research online, so don't quote me on prices on like the other ones. Maybe that's top of the line stuff I was looking at. But for what you get for under $1,000, it's pretty good. I can't argue with that. So if you are one of those guys that like this type of setup and scopes and all that, I think it would do good. The only thing that I wasn't able to test is the long range accuracy, because I just put it onto one of my 22s. So that part I don't know. If you had on like a 22 250 or a 243 or a 6.5 or something like that, and you're using it for hogs or coyotes or something, and you wanted to shoot them at like say 200 or 300 yards, I can't guarantee how good it would be accuracy wise out at that range. I know with my 22 at close range, it was good. It actually did that one shot zero very well. And yeah, other than that, it is a nifty little thing. Unfortunately, in BC, I thought there at first when I read the regulations that I'd be able to use this out hunting as long as I removed the infrared light, because the rules say it's unlawful to use a infrared scope or a night vision scope. So I figured if I took this off, I'd be able to use it. But then about one or two paragraphs down, it said it's also unlawful to use a scope that's capable of detecting infrared. So unfortunately for me, this scope is going to be something that I can use at the range and at the range only. But anyways, guys, I hope this really helps you out. If you want to check it out, go to OneLeaf website, and this is the Commander NV400. And yeah, it's a pretty cool scope. It was a struggle to get it figured out at first because I'm new to everything, but once I got it figured out, then it was fairly straightforward. But with that being said, I wouldn't go without the old owner's manual. But anyways, hope you liked that video. If you did, hit the like button down in the corner. Leave me a comment or two. Subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one.